is a tough nut to crack. And by that I mean just in terms of dealing with him. Super nice, super cooperative, look you right in the eye, and there's something that's still not connecting. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or hockey. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins where you found this. Pirates 4, Brewers 2. I covered this one last night at PNC Park, and yeah, I'm surprised. So are you. Don't pretend you aren't. That's a first-place team that came in with a Cy Young winner on the mound, and the Pirates went out there with their regular lineup. Luis Ortiz got the latest TBD start, and he lasted 6 innings, gave up a couple of runs, acquitted himself pretty well. Jack Suwinski with a 2-run homer. Andrew McCutchen with an RBI double. Left the game. Removed from the game is the more technical term for an Achilles tendon issue that he himself told me afterward was no big deal. He could have kept right on playing. Sounds like he'll be fine. Hayes went 2 for 4, a solo home run, a triple off the Clemente wall, and not one but 2 terrific defensive plays. He seems to be good for 1 every night, but throw in a couple and then all of that, and you know, maybe it's time to step back and appreciate what he's done since Seattle. The reason that I point to Seattle is I was out there with him that game against the Mariners when he went 0 for 5 with 4 Ks and was just terrified to even take the bat off. Yeah, that's the one. He was batting .216 at the time. I talked to him every day on that trip. Got nowhere. Got nothing. Again, the conversation was there. The professionalism was as immaculate as ever. Just didn't really get anywhere. And I can see why it might be a challenge for others to get through as well. But someone has. And that someone is John Nunnally, the hitting coach at AA Altoona, who's been spending some time, including commuting to Pittsburgh across Route 22 in person, with Hayes to work with him on a new setup for his approach at the plate. And it's really, really worked wonders for him, to say the least. I'm going to give you some numbers here. This is Hayes through that date in Seattle that I just referenced, compared to Hayes ever since. You ready? Before, batting average .216. After, batting average .315, best in the majors among all third basemen. On base percentage, before .270, after .347. Home runs before 2, count them, 2, after 10, including the one last night. RBIs before 17, after 36. He has been over the last 2.5 months or so, and remember that there was a span of about 4 weeks and change where he was held out because of the recurring back issues. He has been the player that everyone would have wanted him to be after signing that 8-year, $70 million extension. He was kept to be an anchor of the franchise. Not the anchor, not the guy, not the star. That much was proven with the terms of Brian Reynolds' contract a year later. But a guy within the overall context. And I asked him after this game, as part of a long conversation that we had, if that meant something to him, that he could finally show to the team, to the city, that yes, he can be that.
You knew that this franchise invested a lot in you, the city's invested a lot in you, and now you're showing them, aren't you? I mean, this is the player you were supposed to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a small sample size. I mean, still got to keep working hard. Still got a long way to go.
Of course.
But yeah, it feels good just to finally find something where I'm driving the ball, driving it consistently. I mean, whether I make an out or get a hit, just at least hitting the ball hard on a line, more consistent. Right. So at the end of the day, that's all I can do, and then go out there, try to make all the plays on defense.
Doesn't get too excitable. See what I mean? What was the first term that you heard come from him there? Small sample size. He downplayed it. He diminished it. He wants to do better tomorrow. He wants to sustain this through the end of the 2023 season, all of which is understandable and admirable. It's the best way to get better. But especially in a sport like baseball, which will brutalize you for being inconsistent, it's staying humble and keeping the right attitude. But let's not kid ourselves here. What Hayes has done over the last while now, that time frame that I've referenced here, is how do I put this without overdoing it? That's star level stuff. Okay? When you've got the best offensive numbers of any third baseman in the majors for a long period, and you are unquestionably not just the best defensive third baseman, but according to most metrics, the best defensive player at any position in baseball, yeah, that's okay. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern. That's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
Your front door, your car, your bike, your computer, your gun. Safety is a habit. Every day you lock and secure your home and everything you want to keep safe. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Today's J1Q comes from Jeff, who asks, any thoughts about having Henry Davis maybe learn first base? Jeff, if I'm the Pirates, I'm approaching this offseason with Davis in a twofold manner. One, I would have a real heart-to-heart with him about catching, because it could not be clearer to me, and I would imagine to him as well, that the Pirates don't believe in him as a catcher. They can say all they want about how they believe in him as a catcher, how they're going to give him every opportunity, but the cold fact here, the ice-cold splash of water on this whole scene, is that the second half of this ongoing season meant nothing, and they still were terrified to put him back there. They still didn't want him catching their current pitching staff. They still didn't want him affecting the outcomes of games that, if we're being honest here, it doesn't look like the general manager's all that interested in winning. So have a talk with him. Find out how he's feeling about it. Let him know, with no filter, how you feel about it as a management, as an on-field management. Let him know. That way you can hash out everything, and he can skip past any future charades and just focus on a position. Now, from there, the second thing that you do is figure out what that position is. I say right field, and go nuts. Get him out there shagging. Get him out there doing specific drills, adjusting if needed his training regimen. But give him a fair chance. Why, since this was the question that you asked, would I not consider him at first base, and why I believe the Pirates won't consider him at first base, is you're talking about an 80 grade arm. That's the highest grade on the 20 to 80 scouting scale. He has an absolute bazooka for an arm. You have seen that. You have seen it as a weapon in the outfield. So you don't even have to wonder or try to visualize what that might look like. It's there for you. If that's at first base, you're not getting anything out of that other than the once in a blue moon 3-6-3 double play, you know? Also, and this is unpleasant to bring up, but these are the kind of conversations that get had internally, and I'm going to go ahead and broach this anyway. If O'Neal Cruz, for whatever reason, doesn't recover to the extent that he can stay at shortstop, the logical move for Cruz would be first base. Super tall guy, and yeah, he's got an 80 grade arm too. You've got two of them on the roster. And you'd be wasting his at first base, but at least you'd be doing his for a tangible reason, because he theoretically wouldn't be able to play positions that involve a whole lot of lightning quick reflexes, or in the case of the outfield, flat out sprinting. Now, I know, nobody wants to deal with that. And for what it's worth, I don't expect Cruz to have that kind of difficulty. I believe that Cruz will be able to stay at his position of preference. But you've got to be able to think about stuff like that in arranging long-term, important future pieces. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.